This is problem 9 of tutorial 2. Consider the flexible rod with rigid flange. Let's say this is rigid as shown in this figure. A ring shaped, which is around this rod, slider is held at rest here at L2. The question is, determine the stress in the rod when the slider impacts the flange and elongates the rod. So the rod elongates. We need to find out the maximum elongation of this rod. Okay, let's understand the problem. When this slider impinges on this flange, and let's assume that the entire energy is now transferred, what is going to happen is rod is going to extend and then contract depending on the kinetic energy that is introduced. Now when the slider moves from this position to this position, which is the maximum position beyond which it will only be oscillating, at this particular position the velocity is equal to 0, and therefore this position and the initial position are positions of static condition. We can use this with advantage in order to be able to solve this problem. But before we go further, if we have a spring of stiffness K, then the energy stored in the spring, if it is, let's say, extended by delta, is equal to half K delta square. Using this, it is possible for us to find out what is K. This is the energy stored when it is extended to the maximum. So let's put this as delta max, so that this is delta max. Now how did this energy get created? It is because of the impact of the slider. When it hits this flange, it is also going to move along with the flange to this extent, so that the total movement of the slider is L2 plus delta max. If the slider has a mass m, then mg into L2 plus delta h is the loss in potential energy, which is converted into the spring energy. And therefore, if we equate the two, assuming no loss of energy, we get mg times L2 plus delta max should be equal to half delta K delta max square. Rearranging this, we solve this quadratic equation and find out what is delta max. And that's the maximum deflection it has undergone. In this particular case, they have given it as delta, and therefore there is nothing but delta. That solves the problem.